Okay.
Well, because usually we go woo, but
Well, we don't go woo. You woo.
but you have wooed. Oh, you have.
Uh, yeah, perhaps.
Not
Perhaps not.
necessarily enthusiastically, but
No.
yes, you have.
Yeah.
I will say that. Okay. We wanted to talk Fear the Walking Dead, the new show that's on AMC. Um, we don't have a lot of notes
No. No.
or anything of that nature.
It's all up here. Steel trap.
Yeah.
It's all every last detail.
Um, I will say, I think initially it took me a little bit more to get invested than it did for me to get invested in the original series, The Walking Dead. And I think that's just basically teenagers.
Well, so you're further along the chain because I remain uninvested.
Okay.
Possibly because I hate, hate every character on this show,
That'll do it.
with the possible exception of the potential torturer.
Nice.
I want them all dead except the torture guy.
Wow. That's just harsh, Kelly.
But I just want them all dead so badly. Which I don't think is good. I don't think that's what they were shooting for.
No, I don't think so either. Somehow that seems like a bad thing when it comes to TV. I don't know.
So
Just
so
saying.
now we know if Carl had been cloned, this is the consequence of multiple teenagers or preteens. I think that that's an element, but
Okay.
it's not just the teens that I hate. I mean, I hate them all.
Okay. I will say Ruben Blades, who plays Salazar, who is the sort of I don't know. He's kind of like a bad guy in sheep's clothing, I think, because he doesn't present himself as a bad guy initially. We find out much later on. I mean, he's kind of standoffish and not the nicest person, and you get the idea that he has some dark things in his past, but he doesn't present himself as being, I think, overtly dark or being on sort of that path until right before the end of the season.
Yeah, yeah, and it gets dicey because I mean, so what becomes clear by the end of this first half season or whatever we would call these is that he's he's prepared to do whatever is required of him to kind of for he and his family to survive.
Right.
Some pretty tough stuff that some people might not be as comfortable with.
True.
But he's also a heck of a singer. I didn't know if you knew that Ruben Blades is a musical artist.
No, he like ran for president of some country or something too. He's like seriously like a really well-rounded dude.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
He did some stuff with Lou Reed, which is where when I first came across him was some stuff that he was doing with Lou Reed.
Okay.
But he's got, if you do some searches on Ruben Blades, and he can bring it. I mean, I think he's a tremendous actor.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough character he's playing here. It's an intriguing character, which is unique to this show, in my opinion. But yeah, he's also you should check out do some Ruben Blades music searches and slightly different mojo than in here.
Yeah, I really like him, and he, for all of the sort of stunts he's pulled, he is my favorite character. But I like the darker characters. I don't like really shiny happy people in TV shows because they're completely unrealistic. And not saying that anybody in this show is happy and shiny, no. But at least that being said, there's also so much. I will hit like an angst quota fairly quickly, and all of the teenagers in this show are broody, crazy, angsty, crappy pants all the time. And and I will say that is one thing I think that is indicative of sequels. And whenever they start, sort of pulling out all of these, oh, it's this show is doing well. Let's do a spinoff. It's always with added children. It's always with teenagers. It's always trying to go for that bigger, broader audience that they didn't catch the first time around. And I think the way that they're going about that with this is teenagers. There's like 5 of them, or 20, or like 100. I don't know. There's a lot.
It feels like a lot.
It's So I don't know if maybe that's what they're trying to accomplish, is trying to reach a broader audience. They're trying to hit more parents, because it's this is a split family that they're focusing on. It's a husband and his ex-wife and their son, and then it's also his, I don't know if they're married now or if they're just together, but it's his new love interest and her junkie son and just generally pain in the ass daughter. And then there's another teenager who is Salazar's daughter. Yeah. And then there's, anyway, so
who's not, almost not too bad.
That's just because they haven't done too much with her yet. They haven't gotten too far into her problems. They've dug up everybody else's skeletons and laid them bare, and it's just not. I have no interest in what those little 18-year-olds are going through. I really could just care less. And when there's things happening, like, I don't know, cops are being attacked in the street and being eaten by people, like all his son did, dad, run.
I'm trying to film this. This is important. I'm going to get on YouTube.
It was just, no common sense at all. Oh. None, not even like a little bit. And like I said, what?
I said, in fairness, though, look at the genetics, go upstream on the genetic chain here. And then, the next band, these are some pretty polluted rivers when you go up there, because talk about a bunch of freaking idiots. It's just, so I'll be interested in your, so it's tough with the sequel, and we come in and we've got a mindset around, well, we know all the zombie rules, and we know, hey, you shouldn't trust that. And so, in candor, I could understand initially when you come across the first person that's infected with this, that you might be, Jeans, are you okay? Are you sure you're okay? The first time. And then when you try and eat me, then I start to go, the next person I come across is acting a little funky, I'm not going to try and talk them out of it. I'm not going to, hey, are you all right? Is he having a bad day? And maybe if they're like, I don't know, eating somebody's dog in a living room.
Yeah.
That's not something you're going to talk somebody down from. And Travis, both Travis and Maddie, ended up, the third or fourth walker that they ran into, where it was still, oh goodness, they don't know this person's a threat, what's going to happen? I was like, really? At this point, if you don't at least know, I'm gonna provide a little distance here. That kind of, but I don't know if that got under your skin as much as mine. Obviously,
it did, but I would see somebody eating someone else and go, oh, F that, I'm out of here. I would not sit there and go, I need to film this for posterity. It's not, there's just a certain level where, you have to have that flight or fight response. It just happens. And
all right, but Instagram, would you do an Instagram at least? Like
click buy.
Just one. Try to pick the right filter.
Hologram. There we go. Yeah. I just there was some of it where I understand that this is the beginning. This is all the stuff that we missed, with Rick. Rick woke up and all this had already happened. And so now they're trying to explain what it would have been like to have all of this go down when you're not in a coma. I get it. On the other hand, there's a level of stupidity that takes place of my neighbor that's trying to eat me. Yeah, let's leave her be and let her just wreak havoc, there's a guy eating the cop in the street, ripping his neck out with his teeth. Let's film that for posterity, shall we, and hang out and see what happens. There's incident after incident after incident that they're coming across where the roads are blocked and the cops are shooting people. They're shooting people multiple times and nothing's happening. They're shooting them. They're falling down. They're getting up. Maddie comes across her boss and gets to kill her boss, which is kind of funny.
With the fire extinguisher.
Something that I think employees across the country have been waiting for. She gets to see that this is not a person anymore in there. She gets to see that, and she gets to experience it and understand that there's a difference between the man that she knew that told her she could take the day off to take care of her kids or blah, blah, and then also, this guy who's trying to eat her. And,
what's the name of fruit knife guy again?
Oh, the kid, right?
Yeah, it's not Tobin, but I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on it. But do we think we're going to see him again?
I think we have to.
Yeah. So
because there was no other point for him to be there. That was another thing. So there's another teenager. She is a high school teacher, and she runs into one of her students, and is it Tobias?
Tobias.
And
so Tobin was close.
Close. Got the first three.
Well, I had to watch it in Spanish, so I've had to watch the whole.
We're pulling again. Are we pulling that old excuse out? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's the only cable we get is now Spanish language. So Tobias. Yes.
Telemundo. Okay. So her son is a drug addict, he's a junkie, and he's actually seen what happens when people die and come back to life and try to eat each other, and he flips out. And at the hospital, they're thinking that he's got some kind of drug-induced sort of comatose weird thing happening where he's hallucinating, and it's not actually. This is what happened, and nobody wants to trust him. But he starts going through withdrawal, and so she goes back to the high school, which has been evacuated, looking for drugs that they've confiscated from other students. And she runs into the student of hers, which, is apparently like this internet guru kid that has been watching all of this happen on the internet, and is just like, you know what, we're all going to die. Just so you know, I'm saying, I got a knife here. You're getting drugs. We're going to go. We got to get out of here.
Yeah. I mean, he's like, on Reddit 7x24. He's got it all figured out.
Exactly. He's wired, and he knows what's happening, and he's the only person that has, and he's like 15, who makes any sense in this show at all, who looks at this stuff and goes, oh, you know what, that's bad.
Yeah, beyond his choice of weapon, because I do think if he has been able to connect all these dots to then go, and my defense mechanism is going to be a fruit knife, I think he should have traded up a little bit, personally.
Yeah, it's like the equivalent of like a ballpoint pen.
Yeah, it's like
if you get him right in the eye. So
a plastic knife.
I think we are going to see him again, because I can't understand what the point would be of dragging him in through those scenes and having all of that happen with him, never to see him again.
Seems odd.
It seems odd that they would introduce his character and get you familiarized with him and sort of that portion of it. Because if he was only, he would have been a little more technical and jargony if he was meant to be like replace the science guy. You know what I mean? Because like there's always that one weird character in a movie, sci-fi flick, whatever, that comes in and goes, jargon, jargon, jargon. I know all the things. Bye. And he wasn't quite like that. He was a little more down to earth, and he could see the bigger picture, but he didn't explain anything to her. So he didn't fit in that usual kind of role. You know what I mean? He didn't say, well, we've all got the virus, and get him in the head.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if he doesn't come back. If his sole purpose was to kind of, just set the stage to kind of go, you could have, the information was out there for people to piece this together, and a few people that were kind of wired enough to do that did. But that seems like
it's a lot of effort
like
to go through.
big investment in that character just to kind of make that point.
Right.
But I don't know. We'll have to see.
So I do like Travis. I will say, okay. I know you don't like Travis.
Not at all.
I think
How can you possibly like Travis?
I think he has some growing up to do, and his name that's Cliff Curtis, and he's been in like all the things. So if you can look him up, he's been in like everything. He's awesome. And he has a fantastic accent, which you would never know by everything he's in, because he never does a British accent in anything, but he does have a British accent.
And I would like to clarify,
mm,
while I hate every character on this except for the torture guy,
yeah,
it's not the actors. I mean, in
right.
terms of, I mean, none of this has to do with somebody who's not, you know, it has nothing to do with the performance of the character. I think
right.
that, I think what they, yeah.
I think to some degree we are spoiled by our little, group of the Walking Dead characters with Rick and Michonne and Daryl and people who had a grip. Even when we first came into this, and there was a lot of things going on, and they were still like camping with strings and cans to alert them for zombies, or walkers, or if you want to get like that upset about it, but they do say zombies in the comic. When they were still sort of like kind of in denial about like the scale perhaps of what was happening, and maybe not quite grasping the reality of what could happen to them on a day-to-day basis out in the open. They still had a better grip than any of these people did, and these people are being micromanaged at some point, like they're in a habit trail. This LA neighborhood gets locked down, and you would think that in and of itself, the fact that there is martial law, and the fact that that they are locking people in and fencing in these neighborhoods so that nobody can get in or out without permission, and there's things like that, you would think that would bring a little more gravity, and it doesn't seem to for these people. They like go about their their business, la 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 la.
Yeah,
Not that bad, is it?
Yeah, and so what's your reaction to, so one of the really, I think something a number of us were excited about
Mm-hmm.
was the fact on the timeline where this was going to start,
Right.
is that you were going to start to see some more of the build. From Walking Dead, we missed it all because we're with Rick in the coma, and
Right.
Rick comes out of the coma, and everything's gone down, or a bunch of stuff's gone down at this point in time. And so this was going to be a window into that to a degree, whether it was origins of the problem, less just how did things truly unravel.
Mm-hmm.
And so they started down that road,
Right.
and then the military comes into Crazy Pines, or whatever the name of their subdivision is, and
Angsty
then
Pines.
Yes, they come in. Angsty Pines is an excellent name for this. I like that. They come in, and then the next episode we get, it's 8 days later or 9 days later. I mean, it was, to me, a little, where I was a little frustrated is I'd really like, because you saw things had really started to change after 8 or 9 days. I was like, I'd like to see a little more of that progression. But it is, you still are getting a window into, because things haven't gone completely haywire, but obviously they're about to.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they kind of, it seemed like they skipped a little bit.
I thought.
And I mean, they did go, we did see some sort of pieces of it where, society starts to break down. And of course it's LA, so there has to be riots.
People are leaving the baseball game early. It's terrible.
It was like, rioting, really? Like, oh, come on, LA. Riot all the things is sort of what it made it look like, and just, I don't know. And I think they were trying to give you little pictures of it, but like with the guy on the freeway, or the guy on the lawn in front of the hospital. They had, there was multiple scenes where the cops were trying to contain things, and it was not going well for them, and they hadn't figured out, shoot in the head yet. They hadn't gotten that nailed down. It was sort of like, if it happens by accident, then it'll stop them. Great. And I don't understand exactly I don't know. There's pieces of it that don't quite gel yet. I don't know if they're going to try and explain some of that stuff. Like I know that the military says that they went through and they swept basically like all of LA, which okay, I suspension of disbelief goes. How did they choose these neighborhoods? Like what, because they were going door to door and they were cleaning out and making sure they were marking houses as infected or whatever. And, but then how did they decide that this was the neighborhood that they were going to go ahead and fence off? Was this better or worse? Is this, what else is happening here? And they don't really, we get locked down with these people in one neighborhood. So you have no idea really what's going on. And it's frustrating because you are stuck with these people who are
unpleasant.
Non-commonsensical, it's angsty, take your pick. And then the lack of information. That's kind of like what I was watching. I was watching for the info, and so it's a little bit disappointing that we end up in that same position with them and that we don't get to see what the military is doing, because that I think would be far more interesting at this point. There were some things that happened at the end, I think, that were, sort of exciting, where they locked all those people in the stadium. So it's just a great big stadium full of walkers, which, gotta love Ruben because he lets them out.
Yeah. And
Ruben ends all of LA society.
Lets them out, and he kind of
unlocking of one door.
and it was just so cool too, because he's like leading the zombie parade down there and comes up to the gate where everything's going to break loose, and the guys are like, "Hey, you should get out of here," blah blah blah, and he's kind of like, "Hey, you may want to save your bullets for this." He just moves along, and then they have a different problem.
The military starts taking people who are sick and they lock some of them up and they take care of others, and you don't quite know what the process is for that. And then they have Salazar's wife, and he wants her back, so he's going to break her out. And his idea of breaking her out is basically letting the entire stadium full of zombies loose, so that they are then going to crawl over the base and kill all the people. I don't know what his plan was for getting out exactly. It seems like kind of short-sighted. Just saying.
Well, he knew that they were going to run into a well-dressed gentleman who had an island and a house and all that boat. So that's another one that I just I personally, for me, and
that guy's a sleazebag. I love him. He is awesome.
Oh, I love the character, but man, it's just like 1 to 0 to 90 with this guy. He just kind of shows up, and he's intriguing, super intriguing. One of the few characters that I still don't have quite my bearings on yet, but I'm willing to suspend my disbelief. Obviously, this is a zombie show, and there's a bunch of stuff going on, so you've got to be able to kind of step aside on some things. But the process of him in this whole detention area that he and Nick are in.
Yeah.
For him to go, Nick, you're the guy that I need. You're my. It's like when Nick's primary accomplishment to then is throwing up and masking the smell of urine with his vomit, which I guess is a skill. but if I'm looking for you're my right hand man, that's not a qualifier.
The junkie's not the way to go, I feel. I don't know.
And so I don't know. And this guy's obviously, got it going on in terms of thinking things through. So I have no idea what he could find Nick useful for, because I can't find Nick useful for anything outside of if there was an Edward Scissorhands lookalike contest. And
yeah, it was funny too, because this went on for days, and so the junkie's in the hospital. He's next to a guy who's starting to die, and then he decides, well, I got to get the hell out of here. So he steals the guy's clothes, and then he ends up wearing like this 80-year-old homeless guy's clothing for days. Just days. Like, put on your mom's boyfriend's clothes, take a shower. I can smell you through the television, man. Anyway, all right, I'm done with that. But
are you looking at Travis's fashion sense? Because I can understand why Nick's taking a pass. because
not
Travis is he's not a dresser. He's not a sheriff. He's
80-year-old homeless guy.
he
Travis is close. I don't
Travis
know.
is flannel heavy,
He
check
is,
shirt heavy,
but
but
still, but
okay,
mm,
better than 80-year-old homeless guy. Okay, and
yes,
she okay,
that's all I'm saying. That's all
all
I'm
right,
saying. I'm not saying that Travis is snazzy dresser.
not
Dresser.
at all. What's
Okay, so Victor, I think the only thing that he can see at this point is that Nick is somebody he can control, and the way that he can control him is through drugs if he gets the opportunity
okay?
to do that. That's the only thing
Oh,
that I could think of is that
now that I'll buy.
because yeah, he's not particularly bright. He's not, or at least if he is, he hasn't shown that yet. Um,
He's junkie smart, but that's
yeah,
about it. It's like he
yeah,
can figure out
he's
ways to get
kind of
morphine.
streetwise, but not obviously not terribly streetwise because he's a junkie and sleeps in the streets and stuff. So I don't know, but I think the one thing that this is going to address, which I think will be fun, will be the fact that everybody's always like, just get on a boat and go to an island. That's everybody's solution for the zombie apocalypse, and now we have an idea of exactly how that might play out because Victor has a boat,
Yes, so that'll
big,
be
big, big boat.
yes. That's pretty far away.
Yeah,
So that's the other part is that I don't know if you're gonna pull it in on a rope. I don't I assume they have some ways to get out to it, but yeah. So
right.
that's gonna be. I mean, and so I think some of that will be interesting. I do actually really like. Actually, I like it more the web series that they're doing around the flight because
Mm-hmm.
late in Fear the Walking Dead you see a plane go down
Mm-hmm.
and so it appears they're doing the backstory of that plane.
I love the I love the bit where Nick is on the side of the house and that plane is going off the background. It's like, he's like, oh, and then it straightens out and goes fine. But I mean, like, there's a moment where it's like sideways and all screwed up, and I was like, oh, is that the same tape?
Yeah, it's not good.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing I'll give the show credit for is that this is the first time we've had mildly attractive zombies. There are some folks. So our very first zombie. Now I'm not saying that they're stunning. I'm not saying that the supermodel zombies or anything. But everybody's a little fresher. So you look at
Well,
some of
yeah,
the
it
zombies.
is. They're a little newer than the
And
Atlanta zombies, and they don't have the same kind of heat probably. So
they're L.A. Versus Atlanta. So it's
I
just
like silicone and yeah.
yeah. There's been. I'd hate to say it. I'm not sure they're hot zombies, but there've been some. I don't know. A little bit of lookers, maybe
Yeah.
a bit.
Well, they did say that was something that they were looking to do was to show the difference in regions and kind of like this because this is East Coast kind of versus West Coast and sort of desert versus swamp. Because
Yeah.
whenever you're watching it, I know it's Atlanta, but they are always just like dripping and coated in sweat. This is not an arid area, so the zombies are meant to be a little bit different too, and perhaps don't sort of, I don't know, disintegrate as fast without all that moisture, perhaps. I don't know.
I don't know. They have missed with the whole Atlanta thing. Tons of that area. Red clay
Mm-hmm.
is just crazy prevalent down there. So we need more red clay dirt
Oh, on The
on
Walking Dead?
Walking Dead. But
Yeah.
well, except now they're in Virginia, so I guess I mean, theoretically they're in Virginia. So
Yeah.
well,
But,
I think our time for red clay has passed.
no,
It's all right. I'll be fine.
you'll live. Okay.
Yep.
So, general overall, I'm going to watch it next season and kind of, keep an eye on it. But I'm not as invested at the moment, like I said, which is mostly due to all the teenagery.
Yeah. But there are a couple good characters. Yeah, and I'm not.
I like the bad guys so far. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I can't. So do you watch Talking Dead when after
Yes.
Walking Dead?
Mm-hmm.
Used to be a big fan of that. That has really started to wear thin for me to the point where I'm not making it through it anymore. I'm not sure exactly why, but I have zero interest in watching an after show of Fear on
Okay.
Fear, which are going to start. But
Yes.
I am gonna continue to watch Fear. It's not. and part of it's a patience thing that's not entirely fair. What I love so much about Walking Dead likely comes from the fact of multiple seasons of the ability to develop characters and arcs and all that, and it's really unfair to kind of assume that all happens day one in a new series. So
Right.
it depends. You got to have good characters, though. You got to have characters.
There, the hook for The Walking Dead was just like for me it was sort of effortless.
Yeah.
This I have to I have to work at this.
Yeah.
I can't, it's not. I mean, Rick wakes up. He's in a hospital. There's fingers coming out of doors, and there's things happening, and he's escaping in a. He gets up and gets out, and he escapes, and there's and you're kind of discovering this like new planet almost with him. It's not even like it's our world at this point. It is something that's completely alien that happens, and so you're with him on that journey, and you're excited and you're nervous and you're freaked out. And this was not. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting, but it could be it could be just due to the teenagery. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and I think the one element, and it even kind of carries. There has always been a mission on The Walking Dead, because fairly quickly on it was
they're going somewhere all the
Rick's
time.
trying to find his family. That's a piece of it. Then they're trying to get there. Then they're trying to get there, and that's been a little bit, I think, with Fear. What has been lacking is things are happening to these people, but they, beyond the hey, we should go to the desert plan, which never happened.
Yeah.
They haven't kind of said, except now kind of with Victor and the boat, and I think that actually it's going to be kind of interesting to see how all that plays out. And he's a very interesting character. So
yeah, the idea that we just sit around complacently and wait for things to unfold is, I don't know. That is also not my personality. My personality is not like just sit back and watch what happens as society disintegrates before us. But my personality is as like more of a, I hate to say but like more of a survivor personality, given some of the situations that I've been in, is get the hell out, fight and get the hell out. That's my personality. My personality is not sit back and, oh my God, look at that. The neighbor's eating someone again. What do we do? I can't wrap my brain around that,
Yep, I welcome the Instagram moments. I think that'll be awesome for me.
As I run by, I will Instagram.
Hey, that's pretty cool. That looks kind of cool. That's a great
running.
picture. Yeah. So that's my primary focus. But
so I don't know. I think the boat will probably in that scenario. I hope they make it to the boat, because if they don't make it to the boat, I don't know how much interest I have in actually watching this. So.
Yeah. Some boat island action be pretty awesome.
Yeah. Like Lost with zombies would be awesome.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
The concept of a Hurley zombie is something.
He was awesome. I loved him.
I loved his Star Wars rewrite.
He was great.
That's one of my favorite moments, was that whole process of him wanting to right the wrongs of Return of the Jedi. And there were going to be
really, who can blame him?
No, he was dead on. He was prequel, so he was focused on Ewoks at that point in time, which is a noble focus at that point.
It's not a noble focus. I will say that is not a noble focus. I will say that and we're going to go all Star Warsy here, but I will say that in the original storyline, it was supposed to be a planet full of Wookiees.
Yes.
And we got teddy bears.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. It was noble that his focus was to eradicate the Ewoks.
Okay, thank you. Because I was going to say, because there's only so much of that yub crap you can handle. All right, I'm done.
Really? Done. So you thought I was pro Ewok, really?
I did.
So,
well, you like Jar Binks, so I don't know.
Where did I say I like Jar Jar Binks? Where is this coming from? Oh my God! Oh my God!
Okay. No. All right. Well, I'll pretend that never happened then.
Because you're lying.
No,
anyone listens, not true.
You said he's not that bad.
Wow.
You did.
Uh, wow. I must
I
have.
think that you short circuiting right now.
I was. I can't comprehend me saying that, but you're an honest person, so I guess I did. I clearly didn't mean it. I
Okay,
don't know.
maybe it was sarcasm. There we go. All right.
Yeah, I was being sarcastic. That's all.
Okay.
I don't know. Wow. I don't know if I'm going to recover from a 1-2 punch of Ewok fan Jar Jar Binks defender. That's cold, man. That's cold.
All right.
A
Well,
Wookiee planet would have been much more awesome
it
for
would have been absolutely
Endor.
for so many reasons.
And on that Fear the Walking Dead note,
Exactly. All right.
Wookiee zombies.
Wookiee zombies would be awesome.
That'd be great.
All right. So, jury's still out. Is that what we're saying, basically?
That's what we're saying. I still think worth investing some more time to see where it goes.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
It has
maybe
potential, but it took a long time to get the potential built up, I will say.
it's a slow go. It was,
Yeah.
and
Mm,
but we'll see.
okay.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Good night.